Hello, everybody. Welcome to a We Read the Documents live stream. Hope everybody's doing well. This is part 9 and my CNP discussion. Today we're going to read some papers that I found on the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library Digital Library Collections. And this was the Morton Blackwell files, who's a long-term Council for National Policy member. And I'm not going to read it all line by line because a lot of it is just notes, but I will, however, paraphrase and show you some interesting things that I had found. Now, these go back, as you can see, from White House stationery, as early as back as 1981 when the Council for National Policy was founded. Okay, so this was a letter from Lewis Woody Jenkins, who at the time, he was a founding member of the Council for National Policy, was represented District 66 for the Louisiana House of Representatives. To the Honorable Elizabeth Dole, Assistant to the President, the White House, Washington, D.C. Dear Miss Dole, I would like to use this means to request your assistance with respect to the meeting of the Council for National Policy, which is scheduled for Tuesday, May 19th, 1981, in Washington. The Council for National Policy was founded earlier this year as composed of some of the most influential men and women in America. All are conservatives and all are strong supporters of President Reagan. Members are religious leaders such as Dr. Jerry Falwell, president of the Moral Majority, who reaches 20 million TV viewers a week on the Old Time Gospel Hour. Pat Robertson, president of the Christian Broadcasting Network, whose daily TV program reaches the top 50 markets and more than 1,000 cable TV stations. Well-known evangelist James Robinson, Ed McAteer, president of the Religious Roundtable, Dr. and Mrs. Tim LaHaye, Bill Bright, president of the Campus Crusade for Christ, whose worldwide ministry has 30,000 employees, and others. Business leaders in the council include Joseph Coors of Adolph Coors Brewing Company, Bunker Hunt of Hunt Oil Company, Bob Perry, the largest home builder in the Houston area, Mary Crowley, president of the Home Interior and Gifts Incorporated, the largest corporation in America owned by a woman, Sam Moore, president of the largest publishing firm of Bibles in the world, and others. Political leaders or members include Tom Ellis of North Carolina's Congressional Club, Nellie Gray, president of March for Life, Phyllis Schlafly, Terry Dolan, Paul Wyrick, Richard Vergary, publisher of Conservative Digest, Howard Phillips, Senator Bill Richardson of California, Reed Larson, president of National Right to Work Committee, and others. Eld Fulner of the Heritage Foundation, and Dr. Cleon Scalzon of the Freeman Institute are also members. The Council for National Policy is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. It does not endorse candidates, lobby Congress, or even take stands on issues. Rather, its purpose is to bring together some of the leading conservatives in America for educational and discussion purposes. Specifically, we would be most grateful if you would secure permission for us to use the Blair House for our May 19th meeting. We want to have a luncheon at noon, meet during the afternoon, hold a reception and dinner in the evening. We would, of course, expect to pay all necessary expenses to the day's events. In addition, we will be very much appreciative of having David Stockman of OMB, which would be the budget office, meet with a group of 20 to 30 minutes to brief us on the current status of the administration's economic program. We would also be grateful for any suggestions to other administration cabinet members who would be available to make good additions to our program for the day. Morton Blackwell would be ideal to coordinate the arrangements if you're agreeable, because Morton Blackwell is head of the Office of Public Liaison for Ronald Reagan. With appreciation and kind personal regards, I am Woody Jenkins. Morton Blackwell, Special Assistant to the President. 2 Red Cavney from Morton Blackwell. I know virtually all of these people, and strongly suggest we work to assist them on reserving the Blair House on May 19th. So, yeah. So it's from the very earliest. They were This was marked confidential. It's no longer confidential. Honorable Morton Blackwell, Special Assistant to the President. Dear Morton, it is a pleasure for me to extend to you an invitation to serve as a member of the Board of Governors of the Council for National Policy. Why was that confidential? Why would that be confidential? The Council for National Policy has 35 members, including some of the most influential business religious leaders in America who believe in the free enterprise system. Give me some of that. Human liberty and the need for the moral rebirth in our country. Some of our members are Joe and Holly Coors of Adolph Coors Company, Dr. Jerry Falwell of the Moral Majority, Dr. Pat Robertson of Christian Broadcasting Network, Ed Fulner of the Heritage Foundation, Bunker Hunt, William Rusher of the National Review, Reed Larson of the National Right to Work Committee, and Tom Ellis of the Congressional Club and others. But the thing is this letter... Oh, this letter's before the last letter. Okay, that would make sense. The council is completely non-political. It does not endorse any candidate, lobby, or make public statements on issues. That's bullcrap. They've endorsed every Republican except for maybe George H.W. Bush since the Council for National Policy was founded in 1981. They've endorsed Ronald Wilson Reagan's re-election. They may have endorsed George H.W. Bush. George H.W. Bush did not go himself to a CNP meeting. He sent a representative to speak on his behalf. I think they did end up endorsing him, but I have 100% proof on that. They endorsed George W. Bush after him meeting with the Council for National Policy in 1999. They endorsed John McCain when he ran for president against Barack Obama. They endorsed Mitt Romney. They also, when he was running for president against Barack Obama, and they also endorsed, or at least vetted, Donald Trump in 2016, who spoke to the Council for National Policy. So, yeah, the statement, though old, has been proven incorrect. Rather, our goal is to bring together the conservative leaders of America so they know one another on a personal level, exchange ideas, goals, and dreams, and plan together the future of our country. More, we all believe that participation is essential to success of the group. Under our rules, you must accept in writing and actually attend one of the 2 meetings of the council in order to become a member of the Board of Governors. Looking forward to working with you in this way. I remain yours for liberty, Louis Woody Jenkins. So here is a list of the meeting that occurred on May 18th and May 19th. Dinner party at the home of Richard Vergary in honor of David Stockman. So David Stockman did go. Dinner with guest speaker Honorable Richard Allen, National Security Advisor to the President. Man, I tell you what, they really somehow managed to get the heavy hitters, as we see. All right. These are just standard letters back and forth, nothing that I could really see. Okay, so here is the 12 members elect of the Board of Governors, okay, as of 1981. We have Senator William Armstrong, United States Senator from Colorado, second ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee, chairman of the Social Security Subcommittee, author of the tax index positions on the Reagan tax cut legislation recently enacted by Congress. Congressman John Ashbrook, member of Congress from Ohio since 1961, a leading conservative throughout his 20 years of service, candidate for the United States Senate in 1982. William B. Ball, attorney at law, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Perhaps the leading First Amendment attorney in America, a leading in defending the Christian school movement. Mr. Bruce Hirschenschaum, conservative producer and filmmaker, winner of Emmy for film Czechoslovakia in 1968, currently employed by KABC TV in Los Angeles. Mr. Jim Justice, president of the Justice Oil Company in Louisiana, an important oil drilling contracting company, former president of International Association of Drilling Contractors. Dr. James Kennedy, senior pastor of Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church. Ms. Connie Marshner, chairman of the Pro-Family Coalition chairman. Dr. Henry Morris, president of the Institute for Creation Research. Representative William Bill Polk, speaker, Washington State House of Representatives, former minority leader. Dr. Paige Patterson, president of the Christ Will Center for Biblical Studies. Mr. William Rusher, publisher of the National Review, syndicated columnist, star of the Emmy-winning television series The Advocates. And Mr. Robert Waring Stoddard, who was also a founding member of the John Birch Society. Former chairman of the board, Wyman Gord Corporation, past president, Associated Industries of Massachusetts, former board member, National Association of Manufacturers, Raytheon, First National Bank of Boston, International Paper Company, and State Mutual Life Insurance Company. That's a pretty packed executive board for its beginning. So even it's an inception, there's letters going back of them talking to Elizabeth Dole, them giving information, and later we'll see letters back and forth. Now, I found this very interesting, okay? Now, I don't know what to think of this. I don't know what to think of this. Is a little bit... now, this was confidential. September 4th, 1981. I have been invited to address a joint meeting of the Executive Committee and the Policy Committee of the National Association of Manufacturers in New Orleans. Their topic is... Oh, no, actually, no, I'm wrong about that. Okay, here we go. This is what part I want to read. In preparation for the discussion, Opportunities in Space, at 2:50 p.m. on Monday, September 14th, please review the enclosed article by Mr. Art Dula, Chairman-elect Science and Technology Section, American Bar Association. Mr. Dula will be our main speaker for that part of the program, and that includes a speech. Free enterprise should develop space resources. The president should make two clear statements of intent. The United States of America commits itself to extending free enterprise into space. Okay. The Soviet Union has repeatedly demonstrated a direct interest in preventing free enterprise from entering space. Yeah, that's dirty commies. Various international treaties concerning the exploitation of space must be repudiated. The intended trust of these past treaties has been to bar free enterprise from space. It is not necessary to subsidize space enterprises. Private investment in space industry should be encouraged by a 40% tax credit for all space-related investments, which, like the present solar energy tax credit, would encourage private investment in space. A moratorium on taxes on the initial sale of goods and resources produced in space through at least the year 2000 AD. The tax credit and moratorium should cover techniques and hardware designed to support activity in space, which incentives have been used in the past by many nations to good effect. U.S. patent law should be extended to cover space-related hardware. So imagine you go to Council for National Policy meeting and you're like heads of state and political positions within the United States and powerful businessmen, and you get a speech about how free enterprise needs to happen in space. I don't know what to think about this, man. They're really interesting. Why? I don't know. I really don't have an answer to this. But it's literally about commerce in space and what happens if space shuttles crash from going from here to the moon. Who will be liable? The United States will be liable. It's just weird. Why are they meeting about this? Suggested meeting schedule. Council for National Policy. Quarter meetings. Why hold council meetings at resorts? They are private and will permit us to conduct our business unnoticed. They have a relaxing atmosphere, which will promote one of our primary goals, encouraging our members to get to know one another on a personal level. So that long-standing understanding, trust, and friendship can be developed. They are attractive to wives. Okay? Will make wives want to attend, and thus will make them supportive of the organization. Resorts must, of course, be easy to get to. We must automatically rule out any location where presents any major transportation problems. All the suggestions listed below are easily accessible. And, Doral Country Club in Miami. It's very interesting. Garden of the Gods Club, Colorado Springs. Here's a commentary that Woody Jenkins wrote. I'm not going to read that. Or correspondence between Woody Jenkins and Morton C. Blackwell. There's another meeting, April 25th, 26th, 1982, Mayflower, Washington, D.C. The presidential yacht Sequoia. That's where they had brunch aboard the presidential yacht in 1982. CNP's got no power. I don't remember the CFR eating aboard the presidential yacht. Maybe they did under Bill Clinton. Who am I to judge, I guess? Or God, I don't know, but... William Rusher guest speak on the third option in American military preparedness. CIA founder and former OSS member General John K. Singlaub, former Chief of Staff of the United States Force of Korea. Media bias in covering events in El Salvador. Speaker, Mr. Reed Irvine, Chairman, Accuracy in Media. Spinning Spending our involvement down there in Central America, Latin America, huh? The proper role for the United States in El Salvador. Speaker Professor Louis Tams, Professor of Latin American History in Arizona State University. Address, Politics and Economy in 1982. Honorable J. Member United States Congress, Chairman, House Republican Conference, author, largest tax cut in American history. Man, they got some heavy hitters here. Tim LaHaye, Edward Fulner, Howard Phillips. So yeah. It wasn't just like, just a few people. And support for Woody Jenkins, for him to be appointed to the Advisory Committee for Trade Negotiations, which he was. Joseph Coors, just a whole bunch of people. That Senator Orrin Hatch, that thought that Woody Jenkins would be good for that position. Dear colleagues, I am pleased to announce that Her Excellency Jeannie Kirkpatrick, United States Ambassador to the United Nations, has been chosen by the Executive Committee of the Council for National Policy to receive the second annual Thomas Jefferson Leadership Award. Our October 10th and 11th, 1982 Board of Governors meeting. That's just like when Nikki Haley met with the Council for National Policy. It was either 2018 or 2019, after she had been fired from her being ambassador to the United Nations by Donald Trump. You have ambassadors to the United Nations speaking at CNP meetings being a trend. All right, let's go. Pat Buchanan was invited. These are all people that work with or have a relationship with Reagan being invited to CNP meetings. We know Lieutenant General Daniel O. Graham. He is the chairman of Project High Frontier and former deputy director of the CIA and former director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. He would join the Council for National Policy. All right. Let's look at the other files. So they talk about Ambassador Jean Kirkpatrick's address happened. New members, Frank Shakespeare, president of RKO General Incorporated. Dr. Corey Servas, publisher of the Saturday Evening Post. Richard DeVos joined the CNP as early as 1982. President of Amway Corporation and chairman of Mutual Broadcasting. John McGough, president of Sacramento Union, among many others. The form that you have to fill out if you want to be a CNP member. Here we go. Now this is interesting. November 1982. Now whoever this was, they declined, but it still happened. The Council for National Policy is planning to send a delegation to South Africa in late February 1983 or early March 1983. The group will be gone for 14 to 17 days. It will meet with the highest-ranking officials of the South African government, leaders of the opposition, and tribal leaders, and see large portions of the important, diverse, and quite beautiful country. I thought they didn't influence policy. Why are they meeting with the leaders of South Africa? Financial assistance may be available to a few of our members. The South African government wants to keep the group relatively small, and because the delegation will meet with the government's leaders, they reserve the right to screen participants. If you're interested in participating in this delegation, please write to me immediately. For the benefit of the South Africans, please include a current resume. Also, please tell me whether you were able to go only with some financial assistance. As soon as the details have been firmed up and the members of the delegation have been selected, I will advise you. I need to hear from you by December 1st, 1982. Talk about another meeting. What sort of newspaper would these men read? And it shows like Benjamin Franklin, the founding fathers, We're looking for newspapers like that. The Council for National Policy announces its 1983 Journalism Awards— so you get paid $2,500. First prize. they think your journalism's good enough. He's talking about Lewis Jenkins being put on the trade committee. Them having another meeting in Florida that year. Uh-oh. You can leave a comment, questionnaire of how well the meeting was. Here we go. February 5th, 1983, urgent. To members of the Board of Governors, Council for National Policy, negotiated settlement in El Salvador. A highly reliable source in a key government position has advised me that a major push is being made within the State Department to convince President Reagan to agree to a negotiated settlement with the communist guerrillas in El Salvador. Of course, the result of such negotiations would almost certainly be a communist government more brutal than the Sandinistas in Nicaragua. The future of Guatemala and Honduras would be very grim, and we can expect a flood of refugees into the United States. A decision on whether the president will agree to a negotiated settlement could come within a few weeks. My sources believe that because of deteriorating military situation in El Salvador, the president could be faced with two alternatives by the end of February. Either send in the Marines or negotiate a settlement. Man, they really want Central America and even South America, don't they? It's interesting. The military situation is being caused almost exclusively by the failure of the Salvadoran military to use modern techniques of unconventional warfare to combat the guerrillas. My source believes that 1. The attention of the public should be called to be behind-the-scenes effort for negotiating a settlement, and 2. Direct contact should be made with Secretary of State George Shultz, National Security Advisor Bill Clark, and President Reagan to urge them against such action. The proper course seems to be for the administration to strongly encourage the Salvadorian military to fight the guerrillas using modern conventional tactics. The administration's decision on this question could have been the most far-reaching effects of our national security, and he may want to take appropriate action. With kindest regards, that remain, Woody Jenkins, Executive Director of the CNP. I mean, it seems like to me that CNP was meddling in foreign affairs. But they don't do anything like that. South Africa, El Salvador, the Iran-Contra affair with Oliver North speaking to the CNP to raise funds for the Contras. The President has asked me to thank you for your kind invitation to meet with several key conservative leaders, but he was not able to make the dinner that they were having. New members, Reverend Nathaniel Urshan, General Superintendent of the United Pentecostal Church and leader of 1 million Pentecostals worldwide. Governor John Sununu, new Republican governor of New Hampshire. Governor Sununu is expected to play a key role in the 1984 New Hampshire presidential primary. Ed Gaylord, publisher of daily newspapers in Oklahoma City, the Daily Oklahoman, Oklahoma City Times, and the City Oklahoman, Sunday Oklahoman. With appreciation and kind regards, Woody Jenkins. So here's the members-elect for an annual meeting. Dr. Jim Barnum, physician, great-grandson of Barnum and Bailey Circus. I did not know that. That's interesting. Google Enterprises, former deputy director of the CIA, represents New Hampshire and Washington, D.C. Charles Lewis, former head of biomedical research for NASA. George McAllister, president of Parthenon Corp. John Norton III, president of J.R. Norton Company, chairman of United Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Association in Arizona. Burton Yale Pines, vice president of the Heritage Foundation. Larry Pratt, he finally joins Gun Owners of America. Mike Thompson, president of the Long Advertising Agency, chairman, Florida Conservative Union, produced films on Panama Canal and Salt 2. Some of those members probably were formerly not known, so that's interesting. Board of Governors at that time. Dr. Aker, Marine Corps Command and Staff College Education Center. Honorable Bob Billings, Department of Education. Uh-oh, the entertainer Pat Boone, everybody! Richard DeVos of Amway. Father Charles Fiore, chairman of the National Pro-Life PAC. Lieutenant General Daniel O'Graham had joined by then. Nelson Bunker Hunt. Herbert Hunt. Jack Kemp. Brigadier General Albanon W. Knight. The LaHays. Reed Larson. Donald S. McIlvaney. Honorable Larry P. McDonald, that before he was assassinated in that downed flight by the Soviets, supposedly. Howard Phillips, William Polk, Washington House of Representatives. A lot of people here. Thomas Rowe, that would be from Roe versus Wade. R.J. Rushdoony, Chesedon. Phyllis Schlafly. Frank Shakespeare. General John K. Seamline, W. Cleon Skousen. Louis Tams. So yeah, there's probably people in here that are probably big or been involved in stuff. If I don't know who they are, if you're looking through it. John W. Whitehead, as early as 1983, was in the CNP. He would be later would spearhead the Monica Lewinsky and Linda Tripp with what's his name? Kenneth Starr. Them talk about their meeting in Palm Beach. Here we go. To the Board of Governors and Council for National Policy, dear friends, congratulations on the 3rd annual meeting of the CNP. In just over 2 years, you have brought together in one organization most of our nation's key leaders who share the philosophy of freedom. Though the strong personal bonds... Jay, did I miss Regnery? Regnery's as far back as that? Really? I miss Regnery. Let me go back and look. Because I know the Regnerys have been a big part of the CNP, but I didn't know as far as back. I thought it was alphabetical order. Let me go back for Smith, Skousen. No, I don't. I thought it was. Oh, Regnery Publishing, Illinois, huh? I must have missed it, but it's not under alphabetical order. No, I believe you. That's interesting. So the Regnerys was as far back as 1983, huh? That's something. In just over 2 years, you've brought together in one organization most of the nation's key leaders who share the philosophy of freedom, though the strong personal bonds which you're building among one another. You are creating a network of activists and opinion leaders almost unparalleled in our nation's history. Few groups contain so many of my close personal friends and loyal supporters. Special thanks go to your president, Tom Ellis, your vice president, Bunker Hunt, your secretary-treasurer, Bob Perry, and your executive director, Woody Jenkins, for the job they are doing. My only regret is I'm not able to enjoy the Palm Beach and wonderful fellowship for your meeting. With personal regards, I remain yours truly, Ronald Wilson Reagan, the White House. So Reagan really loved the CNP. Imagine that. I'm delighted to send my warm greetings to members and guests of the Council for National Policy as you gather for your third annual meeting. In just over 2 years, you brought together in one organization many key people who share the philosophy of freedom, though the strong personal bonds which you are building among one another, you are creating a network of activists and opinion leaders almost unparalleled in our nation's history. My special thanks go to the Council's leadership and to the many members who work so hard to strengthen America and the ideals and beliefs we share. You have my best wishes for the most successful and productive conference and very important work that you do. Ronald Wilson Reagan. U.S. Senator Jeremiah Denton to keynote annual meeting in Palm Beach, May 22 and 23. This is the Council for National Policy first issue of the Council Report. So Senator Jeremiah A. Denton, a Republican of Alabama, will give the keynote address. All current members of the Executive Committee: Joseph Coors, Richard DeVos, Thomas F. Ellis, Nelson Bunker Hunt, James F. Justice, Tim LaHaye, Sam Moore. One of the speakers to headline meeting: Louis Lehrman, Jerry Falwell, and my senator from my great state, North Carolina, Jesse Helms, John Sununu. And here's the annual meeting outline that happened at Breakers in Palm Beach on May 1983 and May 23rd, 1983. Denton, Falwell, Helms, Lehrman, Sununu. And a dinner address by Dr. George C. Roche III, president of Hillsdale College. Complexity of South African and Press Council delegation. A 6-member delegation from the Council of National Policy found South Africa a friendly, prosperous nation whose security is vital to the United States. Sorry about that. But also found a nation facing normal economic problems. Delegation left New York from Johannesburg on March 13th and returned on March 26th. Council President Tom F. Ellis served as chairman. So yeah, they did meet with down there in South Africa. Council dinner honors leaders of Southwest Africa and Namibia. Mark Mudge, former chairman of the Council of Ministers of Southwest Africa and Namibia. And then having Board of Governors meeting, foreign mission in mid to August 1983, Federal Republic of Germany. Foreign mission, Republic of South Africa, March 12th to 26th, 1983. So yeah, they definitely... It wasn't like they weren't doing anything. You know, the Council for National Policy, Reagan loved them. You know, many positions within the United States government were CNP members at the time under Reagan. And they were influencing foreign policy and domestic policy, too. So they are the right version of the CFR. All right, that's it for everybody. Take care. As always, remember to continue reading.